Hello everyone. Today I'll be discussing about SVM. SVM stands for Support Vector Machines. So today I'll discuss first the theoretical uh, introduction. I'll give a theoretical and mathematical introduction of SVM, and then we will also see how this can be implemented in software like MATLAB without using the inbuilt MATLAB functions. So I'll be demonstrating using some optimization toolboxes at the end of this video. So first let us see the theoretical foundation or mathematical equations associated with support vector machines. So let us start. So the topic is support vector machines. So I'll be using some inbuilt images here to discuss the support vector machines. So as you all know, support vector machines falls under the category of supervised learning, supervised machine learning algorithm. So in the supervised machine learning algorithm, we will be having class labels associated with training examples, and our job is to try to if you take it as a classification problem, although many other tasks can also be accomplished using support vector machines. So if you are particularly focused on classification problem, we can treat support vector machines as a supervised classification algorithm. So here, as you can see, there are two classes. So our goal in support vector machines is to find a line which separates these two classes. So when I say there are two classes, all these black points are the data points, input data points, and each data point here is a two-dimensional vector. That's why it is easy to plot it in a paper or a screen. And these belongs to other class, and so they are represented in white color. So our goal is to find out a equation of the line between these two classes which separates them, and there are many lines which separates them, but we are interested in a line which is very has some peculiar properties. So since it is in two-dimensional plane, or the input data is in two dimension, we call it as a line. Otherwise, in general, if you go for a three dimensions, a plane would be separating the classes, and if you go for higher dimensions, a hyperplane would be separating the classes. So yeah, in this particular video we will be taking two-dimensional case, and that can be easily extrapolated for higher dimensions too. So let us start with some mathematical equations associated with support vector machines. So as I have said, so first let me introduce some notations. So the first thing to be written is the equation of the line, the hyperplane equation. So in general, a line equation can be written as ax plus by is equal to c. This is a two-dimensional equation. However, we would since we would be using, we also want to extrapolate to higher dimensions, we would write it in a different way, and we will also use the notation for quotients as w. So let me write that. So for the two-dimensional case, w1 x1 plus w2 x2 is equal to b. So x1 and x2 are two variables, w1, w2, b are constants. So this represents the equation of a line in a two-dimensional case. If we extend it to three-dimensional case, we can write it in this three-dimensional or general n-dimensional case. We can write it in this form: w2 x2 plus and so on, wn xn is equal to b. So this would be an equation of a hyperplane in n dimension, and n can be of any value. So our goal is to find the quotients of the weight or quotients of this hyperplane w1, w2, wn, and also the b. So our goal, yeah, so the values, the hyperplane should be in a way so that it has it satisfies the properties or the main objective of support vector machines. So let us see what is the main objective in support vector machines. So as I have said, here we can see there are many lines possible between two classes, but we are more interested in a line which has the following property, which is we are more interested to find a line which is farther from the support vectors. So every class has something called as support vectors, and we want to find out a line which has a maximum distance from the support vectors. So first let us understand what are support vectors. Support vectors are the points, input data points, which seems to be closer to the hyperplane. So they are closer to the hyperplane as compared to any other data point, but we are more interested to also find out the line equation which has the maximum distance between the support vector and the hyperplane. So that distance comes from both the sides. So, and we are also interested to find a line which is in between. So that means the distance between the class 1 support vector and the hyperplane and class 2 vector and the support hyperplane are similar. So let us try to analyze what would be the distance expression for the point to the line. Okay, and then we will discuss the core part of the support vector machines. So first, so let us try to analyze how do we compute, or first let us try to analyze how other equations can be written. For example, we are also more interested to find out the line equation which passes through the support vectors. So here we have written it as wx minus b. So let me write it in a more concise way here. So this equation of general equation of a hyperplane can be written in a shorter notation as w bar dot x bar minus b is equal to 0. Here w bar indicates weight vector, x bar indicates x1, x2, xn in the vector form, and b is a constant. So when you take a dot product of two vectors, you will get a constant. So the dimensions are also matching. So this is the equation of the hyperplane. We don't know the weight vector and we also don't know the b, but we are supposed to find this weight vector, weight quotients, and the b. So let us also see what is the equation which passes through the support vectors. As I am drawing line parallel to the hyperplane, so that would be having same quotients or proportional quotients, but the constants would be differing. Let us try to analyze what should be the constant all this. So let me write a generic equation here for the one class. So w bar x bar minus b is equal to, if you are doubtful of why we are using 1, first let us use c, a generic variable, and later we'll come back and try to reason out why using 1 is also sufficient. So wx minus b is equal to minus 1, or the second class. So I can write the equation for the second class. Since all these lines are parallel, they only separate by a quotient. So wx minus b is equal to minus c. So let me let me discuss with you how these equations are same as these equations. So what I will do here is I'll just bring this c towards this side. So what it becomes is ux bar u bar x bar, this is also dot product, minus b bar is equal to 1. What is u bar here? U bar is w divided by c. Okay, u bar dot x bar minus b bar is equal to minus 1. Okay, and b bar is nothing but b by divided by c. So in the same way, if you divide by c on both the sides, this also becomes u bar x bar dot minus b bar is equal to 0. As you can see, even if you have taken a general variable c, it is nearly equivalent as same as using the value as 1. It's just that notations are changed, but we are using, these are all variables, so it does not matter which notation we use. So we can write it as wx minus b is equal to 1 and wx minus b is equal to minus 1. So now after observing this, after finding out the line equation of the hyperplane, line equations of both the how the hyperplane equation of passing through the both the support vectors from both the classes, now let us try to analyze the find the distance equations. So let me here, right, yeah, let me here kind of change the color so that, yeah, so I'm just finding here distance between a point and a hyperplane. This is very important in the core algorithm. Most of them write this general equation, the expression as 2 by norm of w as the distance between the support vector and the hyperplane, but it's important to derive it. So let us derive it so that we get a complete feel of SVM. So yeah, now consider a point, let the point be say m comma n. Okay, now you have the equation of the hyperplane is wx minus b is equal to 0. So we are supposed to find the distance between the support vector and the perpendicular distance between the support vector and the hyperplane. And we have, so let me give out a pictorial illustration what we want to find. So we want to find this perpendicular distance. Okay, so this is 90 degrees. So in +2 we might have studied these formulas, or we might have derived these formulas. Suppose if you have a equation, if you have a point m comma 1 and if you have a line equation ax plus by plus c equal to 0, distance equation can be found out in the following way. So let me write that. So consider ax plus by is equal to c. So distance equation can be found by substituting this point in here and with a modulus operation. So am plus bn minus c modulus divided by under root of a square plus b square. So this is a general distance equation. So in this particular case, let us derive the distance equation. So let me go to a new page and discuss the distance equations. So here I'll be deriving the distance equation between the point m comma n and comma the equation we are interested is wx minus b is equal to 0. So here w and x are vectors, b is a scalar. So the equation would be, so since we are focusing on two-dimensional case, here x bar is nothing but x1 x2. Okay, it's a column vector you can consider. So here the equation now here it becomes w1 m plus w2 n minus b divided by under root of w1 square plus w2 square. So this is the distance from the point support vector to the hyperplane. So this is distance between support vector and hyperplane. So this equation we know it. Now let us try to simplify this equation. So since this m comma n point passes through one of the equation of the line, or let me show it in pictorially here. So as you can see, this m comma n point passes through this line, so we can substitute m comma n point in this line. So it becomes now, so w1m plus w2n, it's like we know w1m plus w2n after substitution minus, or w1 is equal to 1, right? So this is equation w1m plus w2n. You can see here this is the equation of line. We are substituting m comma n point here. So there is also a minus b here that I have forgot. So let me write that here. So W1m plus W2n and minus b is equal to 1. So this is after substitution. So since we know that this whole thing is equal to 1, so now I can write distance as 1 divided by under root of W1 square plus W2 square. Okay, so this can also be written as 1 divided by norm of W2. So this is the distance between the support vector and the hyperplane. So if you want to find the distance from both the sides, both the support vectors, the complete distance from both support vectors, that would become 2 by, because each side you have this distance and the distance is equal. So let me show it from the graph. So you have 1 by norm of W from this side and 1 by norm of W this side. So the total distance becomes 2 by norm of W. So this is how we get the distance, and this equation is important in deriving going to the core of the SVM. So let us move forward. Okay, let me go to a new page. So let us go to the core of the SVM algorithm. So SVM says that we are supposed to find a distance. We are supposed to find the equation of the hyperplane, which is maximum distance from this maximum distance from the support vectors. As you can see here, there are many other lines. You can also see the blue line, which is also separating these two classes, but the support vector, or the one which is closer here, is not at all too far. It's not farther, whereas here, as you can see, we are the distance is farther. So we would be aiming to find the quotients of those equations. So let us see how we can find those. So our job is to find the maximize the distance 2 by, this is the distance. So maximize this distance between the support vector and the hyperplane. And what are the variables? Variables are W comma B. These are the B. So in the optimization literature, you have a property called, if you want to maximize one function, you can minimize its inverse. So minimization of W comma B. Yeah, you can leave out the constant because it doesn't affect the minimization problem. So this is what we are interested in. We want to minimize this thing, but it is not just this thing. We are more interested to also apply some constraints on it. So what are the constraints in SVM? As you can see here, all these, so it's not just about maximizing this distance, but we should give the information that this belongs to one class and this belongs to another class. So let us give that information. So consider xi, or let me write it here. It would be confusing if I write it in the bottom. So xi is the ith data point. Consider xi is the ith data point associated to yi. Okay, associated to yi. Y is a class, the class output, like which class it belongs to. So it can be either 1 or -1. It can be any of these two classes. So let us try to see how the constraints can be established. So now substitute each and every data point here. Consider this is the x1, x2, x3, all different data points. Substitute, and we know what is the condition. So all these points, so the line which passes through the support vectors is wx minus b is equal to 1. So the line, all other points when you substitute in this one, they will always be greater than or equal to 1 because they are above this line. So, and all these points are below this line. So wx minus, when you substitute this particular point here, it would be wx minus b less than or equal to -1. So let us incorporate both those conditions here. So wxi, so I am substituting the data point minus b is greater than or equal to, it should always be greater than or equal to 1. Okay, and if, when is it, if yi or the class information is equal to, or yeah, it's equal to, not belongs to. So yi is equal to 1, and in the same way, if the data point wxi minus b is less than or equal to minus 1, then when is it, when this condition should be satisfied, when it belongs to the class minus 1, so any of these two classes. So we got these two constraints. So these two equations can be written in a single equation as follows: wxi minus b into yi is greater than or equal to 1. How can I write this? Because this is positive, greater than 1, this is positive, so positive and positive, it's fine, the same condition. Whereas here this is less than or equal to minus 1 and yi is minus 1, so when you multiply it, both becomes positive, the term becomes positive. So both the equations can be written in a single equation as like this. So now the summary, the final optimization problem. Okay, let me write it here: SVM optimization equation. So is as follows. So what is the optimization problem? So minimize this function. What are the variables? W comma b. What are the conditions? This is the condition: wxi minus b into yi is greater than or equal to 1. So this is a inequality, as you can see, this is an inequality, this is I, and variables are w comma b. These points we know it actually. When you know the input data point, it is a values, these are constant, this is also constant, it can take 1 or minus 1, only these are variables. So this is looking like a quadratic function, and this is also all are linear inequalities. So these problems can be solved using optimization toolboxes. So this is a very simplistic form, but SVM has many other categories. So first let us discuss different types of data, and we'll come back to it. So let me discuss different types of data. So as you know, we have seen in the previous slide the main equation of the optimization problem, but this is valid only for the linear SVM. So first let me introduce what are the different categories in SVM. So SVM, okay, the SVM can be of two types, okay, a linear SVM and a non-linear SVM. Okay, a linear SVM can be once again worked out on separable data and a non-separable data. Okay, so these are the broad classifications. So we were actually till now focused on this thing, linear SVM on separable data. We assumed that there is no data points which are not separable. I'll introduce what is meant by non-separable data. So let me here add a image so that you will be able to appreciate what is non-separable data. So as you can see here in this particular image, so let me move this side. As you can see here in the previous example, data was neatly separable. For example, you take the first point here, all the data points are here and all the data points are here, so in between there is no data point. So we aim to find this line equation. Whereas if you take this particular data points. The red data point is very much closer to the green points, and this one particular outlier kind of data point is closer to the red points. But this belongs to this class as per the, since it's a supervised, we already know the label. That's why we assign this green color and red color for this. So since we already know the class information of this particular thing, but unfortunately it falls closer to the red data points. And now our job is to handle such kind of data, so that falls under the non-separable data. So till now we have seen SVM, linear SVM for a separable data. So let us see how problem should be modified for the non-separable data. So here there are two terms we use. The solution which we found out earlier for separable data is called as hard margin. Okay, so let me write it here. Separable data, we will be having hard margin. Okay, non-separable data, we will be focused on soft margin. That means it's not a fixed margin. Based upon how much we want to be flexible about the distance, or how much we want to be flexible about considering outliers, we would be kind of modifying that. We'll be still having the line here, although this data point is towards this side, and still be working out. Let us see the more details, mathematical equations corresponding to that. So in the soft margin, the first thing we have to remember is to write the equation so that such kind of task can be dealt. So one of the important equation is max of 0 comma 1 minus yi into wxi. So let me write it in the here, wxi minus b. So let me erase this. It should be a superscript, not subscript. So we are following superscript notation. So this is the equation. So what does this equation says? As you can see here, if at all the product is greater than 1, that means 1 minus of something greater than, this would be negative. So 0 and negative, you will get 0. So for all the data points where yi, this product is greater than or equal to 1, so you don't even need to worry about this. This is anyway 0. Only when this term becomes less than or equal to 1, then there will be a term which would be appended. This would come into picture. That means this is a penalty. So in the previous optimization problem, there was no penalty. We were just aiming to minimize this thing. Why we were minimize this thing? Just to remind once again, we want to maximize the distance between the support vector and the hyperplane. That's why we were trying to, we got this equation, and from there we got minimization equation. So now we will be want to handle separable data, non-separable data. So we will be having some additional terms here, so that we put some kind of a penalty on the data points which don't obey the pattern. For example, this data point will have some penalty. That means only for that particular x1 or xi will have some penalty. Rest all the data points will satisfy this product greater than or equal to 1, so there is no need to worry. So let us incorporate this. So the minimization problem now becomes minimize this plus some lambda into max of 0 comma 1 minus yi into wxi minus b. So this is what is the equation, and yeah, we haven't incorporated the main equation, which is, so yeah, this when the product is greater than or equal to 1, this is anyway it is going to become 0. Okay, and whenever that means we have incorporated this condition also into it. So when this product is not greater than or equal to 1, you will have some kind of a rather than putting strictly the condition that this should be greater than or equal to 1, we are having some kind of a soft margin, where if at all, if this particular product is less than or equal to 1, what we will have some kind of a penalty on that. So there would be some value, and we aim to minimize that whole thing. So we are minimizing actually the whole expression. Okay, we want to minimize this whole expression. So this can be represented in other form, which is let me write it here. Minimize, we will be using something called as slack variables. So minimize this thing, yi into 1 minus, sorry, wxi, sorry, I should not use subscript, yi into wxi minus b. Earlier it was greater than 1, here we will be having greater than or equal to 1 minus epsilon I. Okay, and it's not just this thing, there is one, you can't have, so take some very some random big values or some low values of epsilon I, you are constrained on the epsilon I values also, so we want to minimize those epsilon I. So minimize, so this is summation upon sigma I. So I goes from based upon number of, for every point, for example epsilon is 0 for the points which are strictly satisfying the property which falls into the right category. Only for the data points which are outliers we will be having some epsilon I, and thereby we thereby we'll have a soft margin to choose. So this is how we'll incorporate the soft margin. So let us see how this can be completely solved, or how this can be implemented. So we were trying to see the optimization equation for the soft margin. So let us, there are few corrections here. Let me correct that. Firstly, so yeah, so we were following from the beginning the convention that it is a norm and not the square of the norm. So let us keep it the same notation. So let me erase this. We were using norm, although optimization problem does not change whether you use square of norm or norm. So let me remove that. And the one more change is we not only minimize the values, restrict the values of epsilon I, we also try to normalize it, since we are using 9 n data points. So this is the equation. So let us now summarize both the hard margin and soft margin in a new page, and let us move forward for implementation of SVM. So let me first write both the cases, hard margin and the soft margin. So hard margin equation and soft margin. So in hard margin, as we have seen earlier, we had we were trying to minimize the norm of W without square, and we had the conditions of Wxi minus B into yi is always greater than or equal to 1. And yeah, one more thing I forgot to say in the previous slide, let me correct that. Here we also have the epsilon I values greater than 0. Let me also write it here. I forgot to write. Yeah, so these are the, this is for the soft margin. Yeah, anyway I'll be writing in the next page also. So this is the hard margin equations, and so let us also write for the soft margin. So as you know, these are all vectors. w and xi. Our variables are w comma b, and we already know xi input data vectors. Here we were assuming two-dimensional data, and yi's are the class labels which are plus or minus 1 in this particular case. So let me write for soft margin. So for soft margin, we had the problem is minimize norm of w plus 1 by n sigma I is equal to 1 to n epsilon I, with the condition that wxi minus b into yi is greater than or equal to 1 minus epsilon I, where I ranges from 1 to and so on n. And also epsilon I values are always greater than or equal to 0. So this is the summary of hard margin SVM and soft margin SVM. So yeah, let us now try to see how both these can be implemented, and also uh, we will also see the plots which are generated using this. First, I'll discuss by showing you some plots, and later we can go to the MATLAB and see the demonstration. So let me first show it to you, hard margin based SVM. So this is how a hard margin based SVM looks like. The data points are little smaller. As you can see here, so these are all one particular class of data points, and these are other particular class of data points. Here the data is a two-dimensional data, so we have x1 on one axis, x2 on other axis. So what are these three lines? The middle line is the actual line which is separating these two classes, and these are the boundaries. The other two lines are the boundaries of each class. The vectors which pass through the data points which pass through the boundaries are the support vectors. So this is how a hard margin based SVM looks like. Here we have used the CVX and implemented in MATLAB. I'll also show you how a soft margin based SVM look like, and we will also see later how it can be implemented. So let me show first. There are in soft margin we have an extra variable called lambda, where we have provision to choose it so that we can always move the boundaries closer and farther to the hyperplane. So as you can see here, some of the data points are compromised here. They fall they are not within the boundaries. So let us see what all the details. I'll just show you here the image, and we can also simulate for various other lambda values. Let me go to the MATLAB and show it to you the demonstration for this particular implementation of SVM. So here, as you can see, let me give an introduction of what is going on here. So X is a fisheries, we have loaded fisheries dataset, which is built in MATLAB, and so it's a 150 cross 2 dimensional database. So first I have loaded input. These are all input data vectors. So I have loaded into X, and the corresponding class labels have been loaded into Y. So Y would be containing the data points either as 1 or 0. So I have split it into two categories. One is 150 data points into one class and other 100 data points into other class. So this is trying to do that part, and this is where CVX starts. So before I actually show this program, I want to show for those people who doesn't know what is CVX, I just want to give a brief introduction. Let me show it to you and get back to you to this MATLAB script. So type CVX in Google, you will be directly going to the website. As you can see here, CVX is a disciplined convex programming you can do in MATLAB. This tutorial gives a lot of details regarding this optimization toolboxes. You can download the academic version, is free. There are few toolboxes which are free for academic purposes. So there are a lot of documentations and some demo examples of how you can use these toolboxes. There are also some examples on SVM. So I've downloaded this and I've integrated into the MATLAB, and I'm currently using that particular toolbox. So let us go to the MATLAB. So this is the syntax of using CVX in MATLAB. We begin it and we end it and we write the optimization problem in between. So every optimization problem contains three things. One, objective function, the one which you want to minimize. Second, the constraints, all the constraints which you want to pose, and what are the variables. So these are the three important things. So first let me show you to you the hard margin, and I'll get back to the soft margin later. So let me first remove these things which are part of soft margin, and I'll explain to you the hard margin. Yeah, this is also not necessary. Yeah, so now let me first, so the variables are also not necessary as of now. So now I am implementing hard margin. As you can see here, minimize, this is our objective function. We were concerned about 2norm. So here the A is the variable, whereas in our example W was the variable. Here I have used A and B as the notations. We can always change it to W, there is no problem. X is the input data point, and so these are all earlier we clubbed into two equations. I am writing it individually here. There is no problem of writing individually. Please go through the CVX tutorials for more details on what is called as disciplined convex programming. So we can't pose all the equations as constraints or objective functions. There are it has to satisfy many properties like convexity, many other things. So just please go through the website, and there is also a book by Stephen Boyd, you can go through it. So this is the optimization problem for SVM. So I loaded the data set and have assigned into two different classes, and here I am trying to minimize this norm subject to the constraints of AX plus B greater than or equal to 1 for the 1 to 50 data points, and AX plus B less than or equal to -1 for rest of the 100 data points. So let me simulate this, and I'm plotting that. So let me simulate this and show it to you the result. Yeah, this is the result. So as you can see, this is the plane which is separating, or here it is the line which is separating these two classes, and none of the point comes within the outside the boundaries. So they're all on the boundaries or away from the boundaries. So it is nicely able to separate both the classes. So let us see the example for other cases. Let me open now the soft margin demonstration for the soft margin. So let me give me a minute. Let me uncomment all these things. So these are epsilon i's. Here u and v represents the equivalent of epsilons. So there is a slight variable change which I have used. So let me run this currently. So I also need to enable lambda. I'm doing first for 0.5. Lambda represents, see, lambda is the one which sets the trade-off between whether to have the maximum distance or whether to allow uh, whether to have what erroneous classification. So if you have higher data, if your lambda value is higher, you would be, let us first simulate it and I'll explain by using the plot. So yeah, as you can see here, lambda is equal to 0.5, some of the data points which came outside the boundary. Let us also simulate now for lambda is equal to 0.05, so that we'll try to compare both the cases. So as you can see, as the lambda value is higher, more number of erroneous points came out of the boundaries, and if the lambda value is higher, so this is for lambda is equal to 0.05, whereas for lambda equal to 0.5, you have not too many points which falls under the erroneous region. So, and you also need to note that the points are fixed. It's just that these lines are getting moved because we are the optimization problem. The results, the variables are the quotients W and B, whereas for here it is A and B. So these lines are getting adjusted as we change this lambda value. So this is what is the soft margin, where you have a provision to adjust the lines of the boundaries based on how much distance and how many erroneous points can be compromised. So this soft margin is very much helpful to study the outliers, and yeah, so this slightly demonstrates the outlier concept. So you can study more details into it and apply for various data sets and study further. So yeah, let us go back to our content, and so this is the broad details of SVM theory and the implementation. We have, just to summarize the whole thing, I have introduced first what is an SVM, why, how, why it is important to calculate the distance between a point and a hyperplane. I've just given in the equation, and I've also computed for the actual case, and we have computed the total distance, which is 2 by norm, and later we formulated the optimization problem saying that maximizing the 1 by norm of W is equivalent to minimizing the norm of W. And we have also discussed about what are these constraints, and we have written the hard margin optimization problem. Then we have discussed about what is called as what happens for a non-separable data. So for the separable data, I've said that hard margin is applicable. For non-separable data, soft margin is applicable. So I have discussed about what is called a soft margin here, and some of the practical implementations using MATLAB and CVX I have demonstrated here. So I hope you have understood, and it would be helpful to you. If there is any comments or anything, you can always post it down.